Hi everybody. Just gonna give this a minute just to kind of get started. I think I only have one person on here right now with me, so hello. All right, we should be good and running. Feel free to start shooting up any questions, comments, as we kind of get started here. But welcome back to week 2. Again, we're kind of just filling in content as we go based on like what you guys are kind of needing, questions you have, things we're kind of seeing on the Facebook forum. Some of you guys have shot me messages that I try to follow up with, so we're just kind of keeping that same thing rolling and giving you guys this as an opportunity to just touch base if you have any questions. Ask each other questions, ask me questions, and we can try and work through them live the best we can. And whatever we can't do here within this hour, I will try and add on to the upcoming weeks. Just like some scheduling stuff really quick. So we definitely are up and running for tonight. Next week, kind of be in touch and looking out on Instagram and on the Facebook sites. I will probably have to reschedule it to a certain extent. We're going to be on a family trip next week, so I do know next Tuesday night will not be a night that I'll be doing live for. But I might kind of offer you guys maybe like a different Sunday or something random just to kind of try that out and see if that day and time makes any difference for everybody. I think there's a couple of you guys here now. Welcome. Hello. Okay, so I will just kind of start with some of the stuff that I brought to kind of talk to you guys about today, but definitely start chiming in with any questions, comments, and we will work those in as we kind of talk for this next hour. So I've seen some questions about the programs in Peak Transformation, the 2-property and 3-property programs. I've seen them a little bit on Facebook asking questions and trying to come up with materials and stimuli for that. I think the 1-property 6J is pretty straightforward, and I think a lot of people have gotten that. The 2 and 3-property is where it starts to get a little more complex and you've really got to think it out. So I'm going to show you one of the samples, and I'll try and put this up on Instagram also so that you can take a look. But basically, so we used Paw Patrol characters. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this really well on here. So as you can tell, the 2 properties you're going to see in these pictures are the size of Marshall changes, which is the little dog. I don't know if you guys know Paw Patrol. The size of the Marshall changes, but also the shade of blue changes, which this is not going to really show you very well on here. So these are actually the same color. These are your anchors. And then there's varying shades of lighter and darker blues, and then to white. So you'll have to kind of plan it out. The tricky part with some of these is you've got to just really think it through. So you got to make sure you have your anchors that are differing sizes but the same color. And then your other anchor is going to be the same size dog but opposing colors. And then you're going to fill in the gradient, darkest, medium to light, again with varying sizes. And again, you don't want it to always match where your gradient, like your shades, are matching up with the size of the dog. So that's why, like, you can go one of 2 ways. It's kind of hard to show you on here, sorry. So you might have them doing color, from darkest to lightest, but Marshall isn't necessarily really showing up on here. Or you might go the other direction with size, and you're focusing on size instead of the gradient. So I hope that kind of helps. I don't know if that was a great illustration on here. And then I have like another example of Sky. You can tell one of the participants really liked Paw Patrol, but same sort of thing. So we have different sized Sky dogs on here that we sized just on Word and backed them up on colored paper to have the gradients change. Okay, so I will try and post these up on Instagram so you can kind of take a better look of them like laid out together. I thought I had a sample, but I don't think I do right with me for the 3 properties, but you could do something very similar, meshing like that kind of theme with the gradients, the sizes of an image, or something on like the end of a test tube, and then you can weigh the test tube with different things, like you've seen for us do 8K, the weight programs, or you can use like bags of stuff. I've seen just like little burlap bags that you can put rocks or sand or whatever in, so you can change the weight dynamic. Then you could somehow color code them, with different colors. I honestly use paint chips a lot from the hardware stores to get my gradient colors figured out. So if you kind of got those and like made some sort of pouch out of that and then had some image on that, that would maybe be a potential way you could kind of do the materials for that 3 property one. So those are just some ideas. Just shout out if you're here. I don't think I see any comments right now. But just kind of shoot up a hi or something just so I can make sure I'm getting any comments. And if you guys are having questions, again, this is only our 2nd time using the YouTube live format, so we can definitely look at other forums for this. This has just kind of been what's worked so far. But so that's just kind of one of those that I wanted to answer that I saw up on Facebook that they had a question about seeing. So I will try and get that up on Instagram too. Hello. Okay, good. I am getting comments. Thank you, Kathy. I just wanted to make sure that it was working okay. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you guys is Bits board. So again, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. My lighting in my basement is not the greatest. So this app is actually free, and so I'm just going to show you. It just looks like this little window pane down here. Oh, hi. Hi, Christine. Thank you for saying hi, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, so if you go into Bits board, this is one that we've already created. But basically, I'm going to go to the home screen so you can kind of see. You can create your own boards. So I use this for like our auditory programs. I use this for 9-eye and generalization. So I'll click on this one just to show you. We can explore it really quick. So I did all like the tactile stuff. So I've got like the green, some cotton, winter, ice, pillow, and sandpaper. And if you click on them, well, of course it's not going to work for me. Why not? Let's see what's going on. I can do explore here. They should flip over, but of course it's not cooperating in the moment. Let me show you one of the sound ones. Gotta love technology. Okay, so here's like our sound ones. Now obviously like this I would keep hidden. So if like you're the participant, I would obviously have it turned this way and be playing the sounds from this direction so you can't see the words. So there's a telephone, frog. So then you would do your auditory comparison. So like listen to this, listen to this. Was that the same? Listen to this. Listen to this. Was that the same? So that would be like one trial in the auditory program. So this one was like 6D, an auditory program. We have another one for like a symmetry program in here. So again, cat, dog. Now to set these up, it's pretty easy. So if you go on like the main page and you just go to add board, you can create a new board. And so I'm just going to name this one Peak Demo for now, just so you can see it. But you would maybe put in like Peak Transformation, 6F, whatever it would be. And then you're just going to save it. And it's going to start the board for you. And so then you can add the text, which is, again, helpful for the person running the program. So like if you're doing sounds or something, I might write, donkey on here. And sometimes it'll have an image come up. Now for me, when I go to do my sounds, I go to the microphone. And then you'll hit record when you're ready. A lot of times what I do is I get on my phone and I go on YouTube or wherever and find the sounds and I just lay it on the table and I put this right over it for the sound blip and I hit record and I splice it and do what I need to do and then I go to the next one. So that's how I do it. I mean, you can definitely work within the iPad or, your devices, but that's kind of been the easiest way for us to do it. Another like quick way. So we have a creative dance one. Again, we could have done this more tech savvy, but this is just an example. So there's our creative dance, one of the slow songs. Okay, so you get the idea. So you can just program all of these into it. You can edit things. I have here like 11-eye test. So you just explore. And there's, of course, now like this one isn't going to stop. So then you can see, all the different pictures for the seasons. We did a program, easy way to have them organized. Here's another one for the train stimuli. We just have the pictures on here. So it's super easy to just upload from your photos here. So I just wanted to give you like just a quick tutorial. Obviously play with it, do whatever you need, but they do also have a pro version. I think it's like $20 to have it for the whole time. But it gives you a really good template to do a lot of really fun stuff. I feel like every kiddo knows how to use an iPad. So yeah, what does the Bits board app cost? So the one that I'm showing you right now that we use is actually free. They do have a pro, and I think it was like $20 or $30 at most, and then you could like have a yearly membership to it. But yeah, it's very affordable, and you'd be able to get on there really easily. So that was another thing I thought I'd share, just to kind of give you guys an idea of another tool to use for some of your programs. But I know there aren't very many of you on here, and that's okay. But do any of you guys have any questions? Feel free to shoot them up here. Sorry, my big hand's there. I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything. Okay, so definitely shoot questions up if you have them. I'm just going to kind of show you. I know people had questions about organizational kind of stuff and like what to do with the materials. And I've shown you guys this stuff before, but good old Ziploc bags. So a lot of times we just use, the slider Ziplocs and then put their program names. This one's like 11M. Tact past actions, do it in red. You can color code them, make them pretty, whatever, and then you can throw them in. Whatever you need to. Now the iPad's talking to me. You can throw them into whatever you need to take to and from schools or to participants at home, whatever you need to do. So again, like just more cards that are bagged with the program name, and then we have them clipped for like train and test stimuli and stuff like that. So I mean, they're very easy to just kind of keep organized. I think is the easiest with just like regular binder clips. Avery labels and Ziploc bags. That's like my easy go-to. Should move a test target. Okay, so this person asked, would you move a test target to train if not getting, sorry, I lost your, would you move a test target to train if not getting during test after how many trials? It kind of depends on the situation. You might be able to tell me what program and kind of what's going on with it a little bit more to troubleshoot it. So normally if you're not able to get a test stimuli to kind of pan itself out over time, the first thing that I try to do is add more to the train side that are similar in quality to the test side. I know somebody had a good example up on the Facebook forum where they were talking about like functions of things, so like things you eat with. So you might have like a fork and a spoon, one's on train, one's on test, stuff like that. So just making sure that those are close enough for them to get. So I would try adding a couple train stimuli to try and get it to carry over to test. If that still doesn't work after a few weeks, then you're probably going to need to maybe move it over. What doesn't belong and why? Let's leave the why part. Okay, yeah, so I mean, you're just gonna, a lot of these, you just kind of have to use your best clinical judgment based on the participant, the program, and kind of what you're seeing happening. I feel like if you let a few weeks go by and you've kind of tried to let it work itself out, sometimes clients and participants are just stubborn about answering it a certain way and just need a little extra time to work it out. And if that's still not happening, then you can move it over probably to the train side, add in some new test stimuli, and just kind of run it from there. So hopefully that helps kind of answer your question. I don't think there's really a good, like, after 3 weeks that you should do it, because I don't know if it's getting run once a day or twice a day or a couple times a week. I don't know exactly the frequency some of these programs are getting run, but use your best judgment. If it's been sitting there for a while, if all the stimuli around it on the test side and the train side are, definitely fully mastered, you're at that 90, 9/10s, and that one particular one has been the problem, then it's probably something you need to troubleshoot and make an adjustment for. So definitely don't let it hold you up, but give it time to work itself out if you haven't. So hopefully that answers that. Number of errors. You might have to clarify, Christine, what you're asking on that for number of errors. I'm not really sure for what you mean by number of errors. I don't know if you mean number of time they get the 0. But again, I think you're just going to have to use kind of your best judgment. If it's been running for a while and you've been consistently at a 0 for that stimuli, it's probably time to make an adjustment by adding on more train stimuli or eventually moving that over. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Thank you, Christine. Okay, good. Okay, cool. So it sounds like we answered that question. Okay, so generalization 2A. I have a student that knows 6 train and 6 test functions on the assessment. However, he did not name the function for a ruler. He is 5 and has not had much exposure to a ruler. Okay, so these are good questions. I know that's what's really tough is like when you've kind of worked a program to a certain extent, like word scramble, or they've mastered different things, but it's not quite transferring over to the assessment piece. I think that definitely look at your stimuli and make sure that you have other things on there that are close to it in that category. Obviously, you don't want to directly, teach or coach. Yeah, the ruler is, I do kind of remember that. So, I mean, there are like those measurement programs I know, and I think generalization has it. Sorry, I don't have the books completely memorized. You can do just other activities on break that gives them exposure to a ruler. I mean, a ruler is kind of one of those things that everybody uses in a classroom, so it's not like you're going to not use a ruler with the child. So you just might have to beef up the exposure of like what it's for, play around with it in the classroom, find different things to measure around the classroom, and kind of teach that more than teaching directly what it's going to appear like on the assessment, if that makes sense. Because there are going to be some of those things that, you know, a kid may not have had exposure to, which is understandable. So I would try and kind of find a way to work that into there somehow by maybe it's simple drawing and you guys draw a ruler and talk about it, or, you know, just stuff like that where you can kind of piece it in other ways too, to kind of have it have more weight and meaning to a young kiddo like that maybe isn't using a ruler every day. Yeah, I think so. I think you definitely can expose them to it. I just think you want to be careful not to directly teach. I don't have my generalization assessment here. I vaguely do remember, Kathy, though, which page it is. I think it talks about like three different ways you can use a ruler or something. So yeah, as long as you're not directly teaching, like, let's talk about 3 ways you can use this ruler, then I think that's fine to give them exposure and to find other ways to kind of work that in without directly teaching what's going to be on the assessment for them. So I hope that helps you answer that question a little bit. Hey everybody, I think another person popped on. Welcome. I would say feel free to shoot your questions up. Let me know if there's anything else. We kind of went over some of the property stuff. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so I'll just kind of show some other material samples and stuff that I just kind of have. Again, I know people have been like, how do you guys organize stuff? Like, what do you do? And I kind of showed you guys like binder clips and Ziploc bags and stuff like that. And then I just get these like little containers that have lids that I put all kind of like our old cards and materials in that we've made, so that then I can just kind of keep these on standby, our old mazes, you know, different things, another level of mazes that we've made, charades cards that we made, reflexivity programs. So just some of the stuff that we've already kind of gone through, I just like keep it in here with a lid. And then I have the same identical bin. I know people are asking about assessments, like how do you run? So a little update on the assessment stuff. So I know people have questions about the full assessment stuff that we're used to running right now, and then those new standardized booklets that Dr. Dixon has been working on. So I know that they're up on Shawnee Press right now for sale, I believe. They're still working out the formatting. It just hasn't all formatted and bound exactly how I think Dr. Dixon's wanting it to look, and making it standardized, looking great for everybody, and making sure they're super user-friendly and on point to kind of really get out there. So I think that still, you know, this kind of long version way of, you know, having all of your materials and stuff, having your books made is going to still be a potential option for you guys for a little while. And for some people who can't get their hands on these new standardized books quite yet. So I'll just kind of talk about those versions a little bit with you guys. So you have the pre-assessments for like the direct and generalization, and then the transformation pre-assessment. There's the receptive subtest, the expressive, and then your expressive stuff. Or your equivalents. Excuse me, I'm like using too many words here. Okay, so my little kit or whatever, this is my equivalence assessment, like little bin kit that I pull out for every assessment time. I have like little assessment in progress cards that are laminated in case we need to put them out somewhere. And then I've got my little tissue box with the felt on the top. One has sandpaper in it. One has my cotton balls in it. And again, these two are identical, so like you don't, they actually are identical. I just turned it the wrong way. But each side has a different pattern, but they are the same box. So there's that. And then the brown paper bag option you could definitely do also, where you put the cotton balls in. I have sometimes run into trouble with my littles that I work with that will end up ripping the bag. So you can kind of like fold it down if you need to, but these I found are the most like durable way to do it. And then there have also been a lot of cool people that have created different bins out of like dollar bin stuff and like ice cream tubs and things like that. So I'll try and keep posting those versions up on Instagram too, because there's so many different ways you guys can be putting this stuff together. But I just have like everything in this bin. So I've got like my clear plastic cups that I need, my little pieces of paper that I need. Sorry, it's a little loud. I'll just kind of show you what's in here. My finger harp is in here for playing those tunes at the very end. Just like a box of crayons. My highlighters, pencils. These, I will say, I just threw it in the box as I show you. Okay, Warm Glow Company. I feel like I'm an infomercial right now, but I'm going to talk to you about these little guys real quick. So these Warm Glow Candle Company scents, they're like little oils, but they have like a spritzer. I'm not going to spray this because they are so potent, and my husband's never going to forgive me if I spray this down here. But they have so many different scents, and literally we just went online as a group, and we were like, okay, what are the most variable pieces on here that we can put in that aren't going to smell super similar? So there's like hot apple butter and Mary Mint, for example. And so you can do it a couple different ways. Like you could put it in these little like eyedropper things. I'll just kind of show you. And then you can like puff it. Like I said, there's sometimes your participants aren't going to smell. We have also, let me find my other little box of handy dandy things. So for some of the olfactory stuff, we have spritzed on flowers and freshened those up, because I feel like, oddly enough, I had a kiddo that would not sniff anything out of a bottle, but if you sprayed it on a flower, sure enough, he'd smell it off of a flower. So you just have to be creative. You have to think about your participant, think about what you need to do. Do you need to put it in a hair bottle to be able to puff it and kind of get that flow of smell running at them? Or are you able to just like put cheesecloth on it, you know, put some cotton balls in something and let them like breathe it in. I would also, you know, recommend wrapping the bottles and stuff, just because sometimes the cotton balls will change different colors depending on the smells. Like some are a little more yellowy than others, and stuff like that. But Warm Glow Candle Company, again, I feel like I'm an infomercial, but these are really, really cool. I use these for a lot of different things. They're super potent, so when you're spritzing them on things, be careful you don't contaminate and like spray too much on the same thing. But I would recommend getting those if you don't have them. But I mean, I think I just took you guys through Dollar Tree too. Like there are so many scented candles and spices at Penzeys and just different options for all that kind of stuff. But back to the kit. So there's spoons, there's highlighters, there's my paper clips are in here, my coins are in here, you know, all this little stuff is ready to go, so that as I'm running through my assessment, I can just pull out what I need from this bin. And then here's like the little food. There's just these little food containers that kind of stack on top of each other. I think we found these at like the dollar store too. And so you can freshen these up and put your different tastes and label them in there so that you know what you're handing out. But that's kind of how I run the assessments. I mean, I know it's hard to like give you a full-blown kind of feel of it. I know our assessment demos are up on the YouTube channel. I can try and run some newer ones. But again, I think that your best bet is to like have a little box kit or something like this, especially for the equivalents, because you're going to need a lot of that extra material stuff for right now. And I think just kind of staying true to how they're written, how they're formatted, the flashcards that are in there. I know some different people have said like, oh, I can't find this symbol, or I can't do this. Like, really try and use them the way that they're written within the books, and try not to change too much, because I think that just helps make sure that everybody is utilizing it in a similar manner right now when we don't have those standardized booklets yet, so that they're just better comparable to kind of what the research is showing, what the norm standards are, and stuff like that. So that's just kind of my recommendation. I'll show you, sorry, I'm going to disappear for a second. I'll show you these that I made. So I think that your best bet is to kind of use the flashcards and format it. And then you can photocopy or scan them or however you want to do it. But basically, I know this is like not the best way to show you guys these, but again, you've seen these on YouTube, you've seen them on Instagram, but just to show you again, so like I just have a big thick old binder, for example, for my peak equivalence pre-assessment stuff, and just tons of page protectors. So like on one side, I have my script, and I know exactly what to say. The participant has what they need to look at, and then you do it again. Okay, so these are doable to make yourselves. I know it's very time consuming and, you know, kind of a lot to have to format and work through, but it can be done. And they're really, really great once you have them. And like for me, I just have like one set or two sets, and then I just kind of take them along as I need to do my assessments. So any other questions? I feel like I've been kind of talking to you guys for a while. Welcome and hello if you've just joined us. See, if not, I'll just keep showing you all my goodies that I've got spread out here and see if anything's helpful. But please shoot me feedback, even if you're watching this later on and you're not on here live. Like, let me know what's helpful, what you need more of, things like that to help me make this better for you guys and more productive, because I definitely want to try and help as many of you as I can. So let me see what else I can show you. So I can also show you just again how easy it is to make your own materials. I know it's great to have kind of your go-to closet, but I think that it's also really great to make sure that your materials are unique to the participant that you're working with based on their age, their skills, their abilities, their interests, stuff like that. So I'll just kind of show you like some other samples and versions of things just so you can see like there are so many different ways you can do this stuff. So like dot to dots. I know it's hard to see because these are laminated. But so I've got like 3 stimuli on here for train, so A, B, and C. And so the participant would need to go from 1 to 2 to 3. But they all go in different, 1 to 2 to 3, if I can do this myself. 1 to 2 to 3. So there's 3 different on here that are up on one page. And you would just toggle back and forth between the train and the test side. So here are the 3 test versions. So these are just super, super simple for a really little participant that maybe is very unfamiliar with dot to dots and just needs kind of some help. Okay, question 2, equivalence 1A. If a student is not successful with 1A transformation, should it be beneficial to switch to equivalence? Okay, well, let me look at these. I did see this question earlier, Kathy, and just haven't even had a chance to like look at it. So let's just kind of take a quick look here. Okay, so 1A, picture to picture and transformation. And then 1A. You think I would know the 1As, but I actually can't remember them without looking at them myself. I love having my books here to reference. Reflexivity, picture to picture. Okay, so let me look at which one was not working right now. Equivalence. Okay, so they're not able to do a no. They're not successful with transformation. Common pictures to identical items. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely try it. I mean, they're targeting 2 different goals. I guess I should ask, like, what are you seeing, Kathy, with 1A when you're running it? So when you're saying it's not successful, maybe let me know a little bit more about, like, what you're seeing as the problem with that one. Kind of wait for Kathy. Sorry to put you on the spot. I just want to see if I can maybe get a little more feel for what the challenge is with the picture to picture. Oh, good. She said I love the dot to dots. Yeah, the dot to dots are pretty cool. I'll kind of show you a couple other samples while I'm maybe waiting for a little more information on that one. So then you can kind of bump them up again where you have your train side, but there's more dots now. But again, you can make these yourself. Don't feel like you have to go buy them or do anything super fancy or special. Again, you can kind of block these off if you need to. They're laminated. Another weird trick, I know I have these like weird little tricks and whatever about these things, but those magic white erasers that you use for your walls and stuff, they're really good at helping take off dry erase if your Expo spray doesn't work that great on here. And then we finally moved up to like real dot to dot pictures, and then those are like by the page, and we just kind of label them with the letter up in the corner so that we know what stimuli it is. Oops, let's see. What 2 goals? I'm not sure what you mean. What 2 goals? So I'm trying to figure out, Kathy, what is not successful for the participant for that 1A in transformation. Like what's not going well that's making you think to make the change to the 1A and the reflexivity picture to picture. Because I mean, they're going to be, the goals are a little bit different for those, obviously, because you're going to be matching let's see here, you're going to present a sample picture and an array and have them put with same. versus present a picture in an array containing identical picture, and you're going to say show me same. Yeah, I mean, they're basically in a lot of ways the same. Now you're like tripping me up on what we're targeting here. So when presented a sample picture, the participant will be taught to select the identical picture from an array. The participant will also demonstrate the skill that will stimulate. Okay, so yeah, you might need to give me a little more info on what's not working for the transformation one. Oh, I see. Okay, my students can't match two pictures. I have to drop the array down to one picture to match. Yeah, that's tricky. And you might just have to put in, like we talked about, and I know you've done this before too, I think that you build in other practice, that you're kind of training some of that other stimuli. Let me, so I know I talked, and hopefully this comes to your answer, Kathy, and if not, let me know. We can always chat about it more. So I think somebody was asking me about like same and opposite. I was talking about like those white and those black pieces of paper, and you just need to kind of expose them a little bit more to like, okay, if I'm touching black, find opposite, or if I'm touching black, find same, find different. So you might just need to, again, incorporate more exposure to some of that. This isn't really going to be to your matching so much, because we have like the same and different cards where you're like, look at these, are these the same? Look at these, are these the same? Or look at these, are these different? And kind of just building in some extra practice and direct that way. What is the difference? I know, that's a good question. What is the difference between the two programs? Okay, let me look at these a little bit closer, because that is tripping me up too. Okay, so in, let's see here. So in transformation, let's see here. So transformation, the difference is it's like a coordination goal versus reflexivity goal. So I'm trying to figure out how to disseminate this a little bit more to explain it. Let me think on this. I am gonna return with an answer for this to explain a little bit better the differences. I think I'm just gonna have to like stew on it and think about the difference between the coordination piece and the reflexivity. I will preface again by saying I'm not a BCBA. So some of these questions might take me a little bit longer to answer and to figure out, just because I have been in the field for a really long time, but there is just some of that background that with, you know, relational frame theory and different things that just takes me a little bit longer to look at and kind of piece together. But let me get back to you on that one, Kathy, just because I do want to take a closer look, because that is a really good question. When I kind of glance at them pretty quickly, they're in a lot of ways the same. But again, the difference is that coordination and reflexivity piece. I just need to look into that a little bit more to give you a better answer. But I will be back with an answer next time, or somehow either via Instagram, or somehow I will get you guys that answer. So sorry to put that one a little bit on hold, Kathy. You did not stump me, but I will take a minute to think about it. So feel free to keep shooting up questions though. And Kathy, if there was anything else related to those, keep posting them and let me know if there's other components to that you need me to answer or try to help answer. Because you guys have some really good questions. I like it. I like being challenged. I like it not being like an easy, like, oh, you go to this store to get this, or like, oh, you can just make this material this way. I like the ones that make you think a little bit deeper. Transformation 2A, use novel stimuli in the test condition. Well, almost all of them, like when you're working through transformation and equivalence and generalization, all of those test stimuli are what you would say like stimuli that is not conditioned or shaped under like reinforcement or prompting or any sort of feedback. So in that regard, I guess your answer would be yes. You might have to give me a little bit more to that question. That's the difference between the two and I feel like you're on to something. I'm just not quite figuring out what the comment is. I see what you're saying. You're golden. Oh my gosh. Okay, yes. Okay, let me see who this is, because they deserve a shout out. Whoever this M. Grumbean, I'm probably totally butchering your little name on here, but yes, absolutely right. The difference between the two programs, Kathy, here we go. I should have looked at the test a little bit closer. Okay, so reflexivity is going back and forth. So you're going from A to B and then from B to A. So yeah, I should have seen this. I don't know why I didn't figure this out on the fly. So yes, with your equivalence program, it's the same stimuli. So you're going to have, you know, cat, chair, carrot, cat, chair, carrot, because you're going to have the pictures and the identical pictures, and you're going to be flipping them back and forth. So you're going to go from A to B and from B to A. So that is how you're doing equivalence. So that's why equivalence might be easier potentially for that participant that you're talking about that's having a hard time, because you're going to be training it in one direction, and then hopefully they'll get it reflexive the other way. I think I'm using that correctly. Okay, so then the reason why in your transformation book 1A is different is your test is Y to Z. It's completely different stimuli. So A to B, which you're training, they are not going to see or be exposed to in any way on the test side. It's going to be completely new stimuli that they need to utilize how they learned to match with completely different stimuli. Hopefully I'm wording that correctly, but I do actually get it. So thank you for cueing me in on that. That was a great call. I should have caught that. That was silly that I wasn't catching on. So if they can't do one, then most likely they can't do the other. So just keeping on which one first. I know, and I of course got tripped on it too, and it's like the first one, and I should have even realized what the major difference was, which is the test. Oh, I think Lauren's on here about 7B3 properties. I talked about that. Let me come back to it. I will get back to you because I did talk about that at the very beginning, and I think you missed it. So I wouldn't say that. I think they're going to be two different things. I think that, Kathy, based on what you're saying, the participant that you're talking about, I think that you might want to start with the equivalence piece because, again, you're going to have the same stimuli that you're teaching in both directions. That's okay, Lauren. No, hey, we got time. If nobody else has any other questions, I might as well talk about it again and show you my pretty stimuli that I have here. So which is the lower exponent? I mean, it might be technically. I'm not exactly sure, like, when you're comparing the modules, which one's, like, higher, if that's what you're asking. But I'm thinking that probably the participant, the way you're describing them, is going to do better with the reflexivity piece than they are with a coordination program. So you might also want to look back at their assessment. So I move those kids to, yeah, and look at their assessments. Look at their pre-assessment scores and see where they were scoring on some of that. Like, see, you know, in your transformation, like how coordination looked, and see if that was higher or lower. I mean, again, you're starting at 1A. I'd have to pull out my factors, but I mean, it is a pretty foundational piece that, I mean, I think it's going to maybe just be one of those that kind of lingers for a long time, and you're going to need to build in maybe more reinforcing things that's going to get them to match, or other ways you can kind of motivate that out of them. But definitely touch back with me on that if you need some more ideas and help. Thank you guys for posting comments and asking questions, but also helping me and helping each other when I can't answer a question and couldn't figure it out. So, okay, I'm going to go back to Lauren. She was asking about 7B3 properties. Okay, so I thought I had a 3-property sample for you, Lauren. I didn't, but I did go over what a material sample for the 2-property is, and I said that what I would kind of do is mesh these stimuli samples that I have for 2 properties with like my 8K material sample for weight. So you're going to change the shade and the size of whatever. This particular participant loved Paw Patrol, so that's why you're seeing a lot of Paw Patrol stuff. So it's hard to see on here probably, but there's a shade difference and a size difference between the dogs. Okay, and then you have your anchors that are the same. So the anchors are the same size and the same color. So the smallest and the largest, and the 2 ends of the gradients have that similar component. And then the middle is filled in, lighter, a little bit darker, but that does not match the size of the dogs. And I will post these like flat out on a screenshot for Instagram so you can really see what I'm talking about with these anchor pieces and stuff, and you can't really see the shades on here very well. So same sort of thing. The darkest anchors, smallest, largest, but the color is the same. And then the other anchor is the same size, but it's the darkest and the lightest. Okay, so what I would do, like I said, Lauren, is if it was me and I was doing 3 properties, what I would probably do is take this kind of thing and put it on a test tube and weigh it with something. So if you look at the 8K stimuli that we've done before with like the big kind of test tubes, different sort of containers even that you could use. I don't know how old your participant is, so it depends on like kind of what they can hold and easily handle. And then you can change the weight within them. And then have the gradient color and the size of whatever the image is, and then you've got your 3 properties. So hopefully that helps answer that. But there's different like burlap bags and like those sachet bags and stuff that you can kind of maybe do something with. And I also talked about like Home Depot and stuff like that. I get a lot of the gradient paint chips from there, or I just get on Word and kind of format the size of things and the shades on there and just kind of do a gradient scale on that. So hopefully that helps you, Lauren, and kind of answers that question, but I will get these posted so you can kind of take a better look. Thank you. They all scored 0 on all assessments, so I think I would be better to start with equivalence. Okay, yeah. So yeah, sometimes you can get a clue from the assessment piece. Sometimes it's not necessarily going to give you a good inclination of, you know, where that's kind of strength or weakness might be if they're not quite there on the skill level. So, all right, any other questions? I think a couple more of you guys jumped on. A Pringles can. Yeah! Yeah, I love that. Okay, so yeah, I love how Lauren said, she goes, I have Pringles cans. So yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like, you can use stuff that you have already. You just have to be creative and dedicate a little bit of time to it. But once you've made the materials, you can use them. There are so many other things that we've created that we've pulled from and just somewhat either like recovered it or reformatted it, and we use it for another program or for another level or, you know, anything else like that. So I think that's great that she's using a Pringles can. I'll fill them with something. I've done 2 properties, so I have those. Thanks for, yeah, yep, no problem. So yeah, that's just one idea for it. I mean, I can definitely probably brainstorm with some other things, but I think, you know, there are so many different weight options out there that you could do stuff with, and things you can fill with beans or rice or rocks or whatever it might be. And then I think, you know, hopefully those little pictures of the Paw Patrol guys will help you with the property piece, and you can kind of go from there. All right, well, welcome if you just joined on. I think a couple of you kind of been coming on and off. I'm just kind of rambling and showing you guys different stimuli that I just have down here to kind of spark your interest or get your juices flowing on how to create some of this stuff. But please, you know, say hello. Let me know if you have a question or a comment. Even like I said, if you're not live on here with us and you're watching it afterwards, please send me feedback. This is the second one. It's probably only going to get better from here. So just please let me know what else you guys are kind of needing so that I can try and have it ready and help you guys out. So I thought I'd go ahead and show you too some other cards and samples for things like tic-tac-toe. I know these things like sound super simple, but there will be so many of these instances where we're like, oh, this will be so easy. We can set it up this way. But then you don't have it ready before you start, and you realize like how hard it is to figure out like where you need to strategize to push them to get a win or whatever it might be. So like I said, pre-plan your materials out, practice on somebody else first, troubleshoot it before you bring in the participant, just for everyone's success. It's just going to make life a lot easier. So here are some examples of like the tic-tac-toe piece. And so you might tell them, okay, like your X's, where would you go to win? And they would need to go here. So you have a couple options. One, though, they wouldn't win. One, they would win. And you might have to tell them like your X's now or your O's now. Here's another one. This was a train stimuli. It's got a C on the back, so I know what stimuli it is. See, this one you could do either one. I don't remember exactly what it had on the page, so I'd have to refer to my program sheet, but you might have like your O's, where would you go to win? And actually there's 2 spots for an O, so it might have been the X. So if you're an X, where would you go to win? And if they went up here, they wouldn't win. They'd block somebody, but they wouldn't win. And so this might be the starting point. This was kind of one of the examples that we used for a participant that had never played tic-tac-toe before. So they didn't quite understand the strategy. They didn't really know how to win. So we had to kind of backwards chain it a little bit, where it was like, okay, here is it pretty much all the way filled out. Where do you need to go to win? And then we kind of backed it up and we were like, okay, now if I'm winning, where would you go to block me? Like, now you need to block me to have this strategy. And then they can kind of become a more fluent player in this. But so, again, there's just all these different versions. But these are just flashcards with them ready to go, laminated. Again, dry erase marker, the little B or the label on the back so we know what the stimuli number is, and you're good to go. So that's just kind of, again, another quick example. And this doesn't take a lot of time. You can just get it done, run it through the laminator, and call it quits. So that's kind of another one. Any other questions or anything from anybody? I know there's only a couple of you on here right now, but please shoot up any questions or comments or things you're liking about peak programming or the assessments or anything like that too to share with everybody. I think is a great resource to hear from each other and how it's kind of going and working for you. Let's see what else I have. So I'll kind of show you, I was talking a little bit when Kathy had her question about like matching picture to picture. But I had talked about last time also with like opposite, same, we talked about the black and white cards, just having, and you can do it on an iPad too, but just like some random pictures, an identical picture, so like a broom, there's a helicopter, sunflower, and raisins, I don't know why. So you could have these out and be like, okay, are these the same or are these different? And just working through some of that vocab with them, same, different, opposite. Obviously you wouldn't be able to do opposite and same as much with like picture cards like this unless they're like true opposites, like above and below and hot and cold and stuff like that. But these black and white ones are really, really great for that. So again, you would just like lay all four out and like you would tap one or hold one and be like find opposite and let them work through some of those where you wouldn't necessarily take data on it. I love the new pre-assessment books Dr. Dixon shared with us the other day. Sorry, went away. I love the new pre-assessment books Dr. Dixon shared with us the other day. It'll be super helpful. I know. I don't know. Did he finally, you might be able to tell me, Lauren, were you at the Kansas conference is what I'm guessing? Let me know if that's where you were. Yeah, if he had them there, I wonder if they're bound and like completely formatted and like ready to start getting them out there. Because I know I saw Dr. Megan Miller and Ryan talking on Facebook yesterday, and like Megan's going to, I think, Cairo again to do another training. Yeah, when are they coming? Okay, so I know that they're out right now, I think, for sale on the Shawnee Press website. Definitely, so I'm actually doing all the purchase order stuff now also. So let me just tell you, I need to like, I wish I could like type this up here. So my name is Lindsey Holtzman, Lindsey Holtzman, HOLTSMAN @gmail.com. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, hi, Lauren. Oh, great. Okay, so she got to see a little bit of them. So yeah, I know I would be too. If you're standardizing this kind of stuff, order just waiting. Christine, if you're not on my list or you're having a shipping problem or something like that, shoot me an email because I'm kind of starting to collect all of that stuff from all of the other people that were kind of helping on with it. Just so there's like one person kind of overseeing it to really see what's going on and make sure some of those people that don't have orders, that we're getting all that ironed out, and all the new orders that are coming in, we're getting those situated materials out to you guys. So shoot me an email or message me if you haven't already. Christine, I just can't remember all the names that I have on the Excel sheet right now, but I have a whole system that I'm trying to like work people through and get invoices out and stuff like that. So just keep me in the loop. Email, yes, please email me, or you can get a hold of me through one of the Facebook venues or Instagram or whatever, and then I can shoot you my email on that and get you linked into my email. But that's where I'm kind of keeping everything tracked and organized for that stuff. So I actually think I will be meeting with Dr. Dixon tomorrow. Let me check with him on what's going on with those booklets. I can get you guys maybe a better update of if they're all ready to go and they're starting to get shipped out and stuff like that. But yeah, they're going to be so quick and easy. Like, I don't even have one. Oh, I was saying Megan and Ryan, they were on, they do a ton of the experiential training stuff that's coming out, the level 1 foundational stuff, but she was even saying that she doesn't have the standardized versions yet. So some of the upcoming trainings that are happening in like the next 2 weeks, like they won't even have access to them quite yet because she needs to really get her hands on them, work within them. I know we need to kind of get our hands on them and kind of see what's going on and how different they are. and stuff like that, so that we can get more information out to you guys for that. But I hope I have one very soon that I can maybe do a demo up on YouTube for, or something for you guys, so you can kind of check out a little glimpse of what will be in our future of pre-assessment books. Because yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited. It'll save people a lot of time and a lot of really great stuff. So cool. Well, we got like 10 more minutes. Like I said, next week I am going to be out of town, so I'm not going to be here live on Tuesday night. I mean, we definitely have had some great people that have been able to get on here. I might try and brainstorm with everybody and see if there's another day and time that maybe more people are able to get on live. If not, no big deal. We can definitely keep, you know, doing this Tuesday night slot when I get back into town. I just thought maybe I'd offer a weekend one or something a little bit different, just to see if we can get some more people on here and kind of chatting and asking questions and shooting things out into the air a little bit more. But if you have any more questions, we got like 10 more minutes. Let me see what else. So I do still need to get some demos up. I know I was able to get that 7J program up for a lot of you that were asking about. I think it was the abstract feature one that a lot of people had questions about. But another one I get a lot of questions about is like the group counting program. So there's a couple different ways you can do it, and I'll run this live, or not live, but I'll run the demo here for it pretty soon with Lisa, and we'll get it up on YouTube so you guys can see it. But this is kind of how we sometimes do like the 2 groups of however many. So you would write like how many bears or how many chips or whatever would go into each circle, and you'd hand, you know, the stack of stuff to the participant, and they would need to count out the correct amount, you know, into each circle. So sometimes, you know, your participant's going to be able to understand from just like the flashcards of like the 2 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 4, you know, whatever it might be. But then there might also be times where you need to make kind of a little template or like a little kind of go-to spot for them to focus on, to kind of organize what they need to do. And then you could always obviously fade this out if you wanted to, and have them do it for real. But that is just kind of an example of that. And again, there's just so many different levels and different things that you can do with everything. I'm trying to think of like what other cool stuff I have to show you. The only other thing I can think of, but I think you guys have probably seen this demo already, is the whole you and I process. Let me grab. I'm going to be so tired of this eagle and dog by the time I'm done with this program, because it's like the 2 characters that we've used for all of it. So for you and I, there are definitely those kids and participants and whoever that really get the concept of like the 2-sided card, where if I were you and you were me. But sometimes you kind of have to take that out of it, and if you don't have enough people to like switch places and like get a little more visual and concreteness to it, it can be a little bit challenging to teach, I think. And to teach that whole like theory of mind piece that may not be there for some participants yet. So this is like a cool alternative to not having a lot of people using stuffed animals and other items to get your point across. So basically I would like set this on the table and have like the eagle on one side. This is going to be hard to do on the lap here, but you would have like the eagle on one side and the dog on one side, and like a bag of train materials and a bag of test materials, and you'd put one thing in front of the eagle and one thing in front of the dog, and then you would start. If the eagle was the dog and the dog was the eagle, what does the dog see? And let's say they said what was in front of the dog. That wouldn't be right. So then you'd maybe ask them again, and if it still isn't correct, then you would maybe say again, if the dog was the eagle and the eagle was the dog, what does the dog see? And then go back to the original spot. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say is like, you have to kind of think about other ways that you can kind of add weight to it or make it a little more concrete or make sense. So there are different things like that that might be useful for some of those programs to help participants visualize some of that perception piece a little bit more. We've done it with like other little figurine people where you have like Batman and Spider-Man, and if Batman was Spider-Man and Spider-Man was Batman, what does Batman see? I can't even say it. So pick names and characters that are easy to say, because you're going to be saying that one over and over again. Using plates for groups. Whoops, I lost the quote, or lost your comment. Using plates for groups is great too. Kathy, you might have to shoot a little more detail. I'm sure it's a cool idea, I'm just not visualizing exactly what it is. Thanks for all the great ideas. This is, oh good, Lauren. I love positive feedback, but I love just good feedback. It helps me figure out what to do with you guys differently and how to make this more beneficial for you all. But yeah, I hope that helps, Lauren, for that one question you had at least. And I mean, like I've said before, if you have questions or you're thinking of stuff and you know one of these is coming up, shoot me a message or an email. Say, hey, I'd really like to see this program, or what materials do you have on this, or hey, can you help me plan this out a little bit, stuff like that. And I'm happy for those kind of quick and easy questions and one-offs to kind of help you guys out and figure out a way to get it organized a little bit better for the next week. We got about 5 more minutes. Trying to think of what else I can show you guys. I'll just show you a couple other, and again, like mazes and stuff are like super simple to find. I think you just have to also keep in mind the complexity to some of it. And sometimes you just have to make your own, like drawing your own boundaries to it and putting a sticker, or writing your own start and finish. We've cut and pasted, like we had one that was like this with a dog, and they had to get the dog to the bone and it just was not working. But this is kind of a tricky one. So we switched it and made it vertical, put a pig on it, and put that on the train side to get to the test. So that's kind of answering a little bit of, you know, one of those instances where like this participant might have been flipping through all of these mazes. I wonder if I have it. And this one maze was just, oh yeah, here it is. And this one maze, which again, probably a poor maze to pick. But again, this is the learning piece of like, sometimes you think it's a great idea and you go to run it and it just doesn't work out and you have to scrap it, or you have to figure out a way to fix it. So this was, you know, one of the test stimuli. And so it originally was the dog, I forget how this was. I think the dog was facing this way. It's actually cut out and re-put on here. And so then we were like, okay, well, how can we get this to jump from the train side when there really isn't anything that's that similar to it compared to the other train and test stimuli? So we had to make our own. Welcome the pig. So we flipped it, put the pig on top, and went from there. So you can definitely like turn them different directions to get your train and test stimuli a little bit closer without being identical. But finding a way to fix that, if there's just that one stubborn stimuli that just isn't quite working out, it probably means that your train and test are just too far away. For Gen 2B3, oh yeah, oh I get it, Kathy, plates for the, sorry, I was slow to her comment when she was talking about plates, that plates are really great for this program for kind of organizing your different sets. Yes, plates are a great idea. Sorry, I think I had moved on to talking about something else before the comment went up and it wasn't clicking what you're referring to, but yes, that would be cups, plates, whatever. I think it's so great to help organize that. So then here's kind of like another way to make sure your train and test stimuli are close by. So it's again just kind of switching it just subtly, and we moved the end spot and the cheese spot and just kind of like cut them out and made them a little bit different so that they were close by. So yeah, that's kind of all I have, you guys. We've only got a couple more minutes. I know there's just kind of a couple of you left on here. Sorry, I've got to figure out something different for doing live than my phone. I need to get some sort of upgrade on my computer so that this jives better with doing the webcam than my phone. So then you don't see my big hand pushing all the comments all the time. But yeah, so I think I'm just going to kind of start saying my goodbyes. We're almost at an hour, but remember, next week I won't be on here on Tuesday night. I might take some sort of poll of like 3 different options and let just the majority rule of when everyone's available and when everybody wants to hop on here. Again, shoot me an email or message if you're having a purchase order issue or asking about the new books and stuff that are coming out, but I'll try and get a better update for that maybe tomorrow. And I think that Dr. Megan Miller is putting out quite a few announcements on the experiential level 2 kind of training stuff after that foundational skill stuff is done for Peak. And then she might have some updates on that too, but I'll try and see what I can find out tomorrow and get out to you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and say my goodbyes, and I hope everybody has a great week, and I will be in touch of when I will see you guys on here again in the following week. But I hope everybody has a great night, and thanks for hanging out with me. If you aren't on here live now and you're just kind of watching it back, please shoot me any messages that